like what got you into it? What was the appeal to fighting games? Was that like some of the first games that you started to play, or was it just something that you looked like, yo, I think I might be good at this? Or
No, no. So yeah, I mean, fighting games was actually the first game I started playing because ever since I was a kid, my first game was basically Rumble Fighter. Yeah, it's basically an online fighting game where you play with 2D. It was interesting enough. It was a 3D based game where you move around 3D and you block and attack and do combos to your opponent, etc., etc. The game was really interesting because I was able to connect with so many people online. You build bonds with friends. It's crazy. Yeah. And I was like I was like a kid. I was like 11 and 12 at the time.
Wait. Yeah. So you were playing that game online at that age?
Yeah, I was playing that game online at that age. Yeah, but I not that game specifically. But if we're going way back, the first game I actually played was StarCraft.
Oh wow!
Because my dad was actually a gamer. Like my stepdad.
Yeah.
I would be like just sitting on the bed, just watching him play StarCraft, and he was he was actually like he was mad nice. He was good. Like
those RTS games are pretty hard. I think RTS and fighting games are probably the hardest too.
Oh yeah, that's
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was watching him play StarCraft. What else? He was playing Age of Empires.
I used to play that game.
What else was there? He was playing poker while I was watching. I was like, Dad, how come you didn't check that? How come you didn't fold that?
Oh, I was like, you were good at poker?
Yeah. You learned him? He was like, shut up. I'm trying to play the game. I'm like, all right. It was just, and he was a pathway for me to become a gamer. Because I was watching him and, I want, and you learn, you see, monkey see, monkey do, right? I eventually started playing StarCraft. And then my mom would get mad because I was playing too much games, and you know how it goes, right, guys?
Definitely do.
There'll be times where I would be really scared to play in Dad's room because that's where mom and dad sleep, that room had a shit ton of spiders, and I was like. And I'll be playing randomly on StarCraft, and then when I'm playing, and I look down on the monitor on the keyboard, there's like 2 spiders on the keyboard. And I'm like, I scream like a girl, and I'm like,
hey Josh, what's up?
I literally got up from the desk and I ran. I closed the door. I said, Mom, there's a spider in your room. Please kill it. And then she's been probably doing her dishes or cooking and whatever. He's like, all right, I'm coming. So the mom comes to the room and looks for the spider, kills it. And then like, all right, you happy now? I'm like, yeah, okay. And I'm like, I ask her, Mom, are you sure they're gone? Yes, I killed them. I'm like, okay.
Oh, good. Dude, the spiders only came out when you came in the room. Like, oh, there he is again, baby.
Yeah. Nah, there'll be one every time. That shit's crazy. But yeah. Honestly, like it was because my stepdad, I was able to start playing games and take this pathway.
Okay.
StarCraft, and then I switched when we moved to the new apartment when I was like around 13 or 14. That's when I played Rumble Fighter, and then building bonds, learning more about other people, and I would come home from high school every day and just get on the computer and just start talking to friends.
So Rumble Fighter was the one where that's when you learned like the online community. That's how you gain like more friends.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the game is basically a dumber down version of Tekken. There's no setups. It's just pure neutral. The options in that game are limited, but it's the same thing as any other fighting game. There's guessing, etc. Blah blah blah. And then eventually, when I was playing Rumble Fighter, and I was also playing League of Legends, right? So
you're playing League.
At the time when League of Legends first came out, I was addicted to the game because my friend introduced me to the game. So I want to get good at it, and it took me a couple seasons to get good, and eventually got somewhere. And then I really thought that I can make it big. I can if I take this game seriously. And I was just so consumed by it. Like there was too much pride on the line, and I tried to make something out of it. I almost did, and I eventually got on a competitive team to compete in other teams. it was so long ago, I don't even remember the team name. But I was not only the player on the team, but I was also a analyst / coach.
Oh, wow.
So yeah,
so you had multiple roles for them.
Yeah, and you know, it was a good experience. You know, I was relocated in the States in a gaming house for a year, at least a year, getting paid some decent money. And you know, eventually the team disbanded because there's too much drama going on. And then headed back. I flew my ass back to Canada, and then, you know, went back. At this time, I was already living by myself. I was already done high school. I was 18, 19. Like, really fast forward, I was already after high school. That's when everything went up for me. Because I wasn't able to pursue League of Legends at home because my mom wasn't supportive of what I was doing. So every time I was trying to play a game of League, and you know my mom would be like, get off the game. I'm like, okay, mom, just give me 10 minutes. I'm in the game. Please don't unplug the modem, right? Don't unplug the internet. And she's like, you know what? No, I'm tired of your shit. She walks into the room. She just pulls the cord. She's like, yank, and like I just start screaming. Like, I start crying. I start raging, and like I punch the fucking wall. And like I just lost mad. We were about to win the game. I just lost points for winning because the mom pulled the plug. And I had it. I couldn't take it anymore. So what I did was I had a lot of money saved up at the time because I was working in high school already. So you know, when we were young, we make stupid decisions. So I dedicated my life and my passion to League of Legends. So I every day when I wake up, I went to an internet cafe for a whole year, and I spent 10 grand on that internet cafe.
But to hone your skills, to hone your skills in League.
Well, pretty much, but you know, it's unfortunate I had to take this route.
Right, because she wasn't supporting.
And eventually, you know, it helped me got somewhere again. You know, I was on another team, worked out for a bit, team disbanded. You know, it's usually how it goes. Yeah. And then came back. So I got so tired of doing that. Like, I was playing League. I was boosting people in League. I was elo boosting people in League. So I was making a lot of money on by doing that. I was making like $5 grand a month. Right. But eventually that wasn't consistent anymore because the game started getting bigger and bigger. And
they started cracking down. I think they cracked down on that a little bit.
They started cracking down, and so, you know, it wasn't very sustainable. So at this point, there was a wall. Like, there was a threshold. I didn't know what to do anymore. I was like, should I keep playing League competitively? Should I just give up and go casually and try something else? And you know what? At this time, you know, I switched over to fighting games afterwards because I was playing on the side because my best friend, his name is Scooter, and
you're on the stream.
Yeah, he's literally he's my. I always say, you know, my second hometown is New York. I would go ever since high school. Every summer, I would go visit New York just to chill with Scooter.
Oh.
Yeah, and you know, his grandparents, you know, they love me, they miss me, and they think of me as their son too. It's crazy. And I literally, you know, sometimes people be asking me why do you talk like in a New York or Bronx accent? I'm like, it's because I literally adopted it. Like, I talk to Scooter on every day. That shit rubs off, you know, right? So it's like, you know, I can't do anything about it. You know? So,
wait, so you guys met through League? Or
we met through Rumble Fighter.
Rumble Fighter, okay.
I've known Scooter since I was 12, so that's why I've known him for 13 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That is so crazy that you said it real quick. Just give you a pause a little bit. Again, we're talking to CeroBlast. He's talking about now his gaming history. We're talking about, you know, his transition from learning from his pops, playing, you know, RTS games into fighting games, and how he met Scooter through online games. And it's so funny that you say that because I got a good friend too that I met through this game, this MMO. I don't know, you might not have heard of it, but it was called Star Wars Galaxies. Because I'm like super big in Star Wars. Like, you talk to me and we could talk lore and all that. We could talk for hours on Star Wars. So that's how I met him. And just to this day, he met my daughter. You know, I went to go see him out when he was out in Florida. I met, you know, the people he was living with and stuff. But it's just so crazy how people can, if you really think about the connections that you can make, and even though you don't see that person day to day, it could be stronger than some of the people that are around you that you see day to day. And people gotta really you know, like capture that. Like it's good that you, because it's a good example for other people. Like, yo, if you were with someone for 13 years, that's, you invested in that person. You know what I'm saying? You should grow that, and it's cool that you did that and went out there and see them. That's really good.
Yeah.
Damn, that's cool, man. All right, man. So keep going, man. Keep going. That's interesting.
Yeah. Like I've known Scooter for like 13 years. It's
Wait, so sorry, from Vancouver to New York, you would go from?
Yeah.
Wow, damn, dude.
Like that was a 7-hour flight back and forth. Yeah.
Because I know you when you usually make the comparison, you usually say it's like for the West Coast. For us, it's like, because that's around the same time frame.
Yeah. His, I remember the first time I flew down there, and I told Scooter's buddy, like, you know, I'm coming through, you know, we're gonna chill, we're gonna do all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
I come through, I'm at the airport, it's like 7 in the morning. I told Scooter like a month ago, yo, I'm gonna be arriving. You better be there. You better get granddad to pick me up. I land at the airport. I immediately text Scooter, yo, you there? Yo, I'm here. I landed on the airport. No reply.
Damn, this man nervous. It's like, this motherfucker was for
real. 30 minutes later, still no reply, and I'm like, damn. Oh, he probably sleeping. He was dead ass sleeping. This shit was crazy. Wow. He was dead ass sleeping. Like I don't know. And I kept messaging his friend. He's like, yo, he's dead ass sleeping. He left me stranded in the airport. He's like, and the buddy's like, yo, no. So let me try and wake him up. And he's like, so afterwards, after like 6 hours, your boy finally woke up, and I'm just sitting in the airport staring at my laptop, eating Subways and shit. And Scooter's like, yo, my bad.
That's it?
All right. He said, my bad. He's like, hey, you know what's funny? I got so tight. He's like, my bad, I'm coming right now. He's like, all right, so when now? I said, yo, I'm coming. What time? Right now. Okay. Dude, so he shows up. So it's around 5 p.m. He shows up with his granddad. Granddad coming. Granddad's in the car. Scooter comes out of the car. I'm so hungry. I already had another Subways. I ate another Subways after 5 hours later. Right. I'm here ordering Subways. I'm getting a meatball marina.
Marinara, you mean?
Meatball marina. And Scooter comes behind me. He's like, oh, word, Josh. Oh, word, CeroBlast, meatball marina. And I'm like, what the fuck's that? Oh shit, it's Scooter. I was like, nah, fuck you. You fucking made me wait for like 6 hours. You fucking piece of shit. And
meatball marina.
Oh, and the subway clerk, she's like, damn, who is this guy? He's like, he's some loser. Don't I don't know him. This was back when I was like in my this was back after I finished high school or something. Right. So you know, we were still mad young, but you know, it was. I forgave him. It was mad funny. I got over it. It's whatever. Right. We hopped in the car. I met granddad. Granddad was hella chill, cool as fuck. They was housing me for the rest of the summer, so 3 months, and then you know I flew back. I would fly back in September, so I stood there for like maybe till July to September. I don't remember. Okay. But yeah, it was mad fun. Met the whole family. Everyone likes me. Everyone loves me. My granddad misses me. Granny, me and Granny are hella tight. I'd be buying her food. She's like, yo, Josh, when you coming back? I need food. Nah, but you know, it's crazy. Like me and Scooter know each other's family because he actually came to my crib too. Right. Yeah, he came over when I turned 20. Yeah, he came over with his friend. You know, I housed him here in his house for a couple of weeks, and then you know, they got to learn about the family and the one thing Scooter will never forget is that we got this Chinese roasted duck, and he's like, "Yo, that shit is godlike." He's like, "I know you guys don't got that in Chinatown." Hold that out. Yeah. You know, it's cool. Like I know for so he's literally my brother. Like I've known him for so long. Like we know each other inside and out. We know each other's habits. We know each other's weaknesses, strengths. Like we know. Like I know everything about him. That's crazy,
cool, man. Damn, dude. Yeah. That's cool, man. It's cool to hear stories like that, man. Because you know, there's like I said, you can meet a lot of good people, especially if you go out for so long. I'm telling you that like people don't really make that connection, and it's funny that if you put in like I said again, I can say it again, you put in so much time into something, whether it's gaming, whether in the community over online or whatever, you have to grow that. You should be growing things like that, because I mean, I don't know if you're at this age now, but I'm at this age now where my circle is very small. It's very small. You know what I'm saying? Like,
our circle is going to be mad small.
Yeah, and you know, but the people that come into your life, and you got that good vibe, you got those good connections, and you gotta try to put some kind of effort into it, because it can be something, you know, we see something bigger, you know, even if it's from online or whatever. I want to also touch back on the support that your mom didn't give you when it came to the fight, you know, when it came to gaming. It's so interesting that you say that, because I tell my daughter the same thing. You know, I'm trying to tell her now, because we all grew up with that, you know, the whole parents don't see gaming as a thing, because, you know, they probably, you know, they didn't have it at that time, or, you know, they were working too much. They don't see it as something that's going to be productive. And I always tell her, because she'll like, if she'll see me playing something, let's say, whatever, when I'm streaming or something, and she'll be like, oh, well, you know, that's only a game, you know, what, you know, cut it off. And I'll tell you this much, she'll get that from her mom, and that's one of the qualities I didn't. And so I tell her, I take her to the side and I say, look, okay, you like to play Roblox, right? She said, yeah. So if I came to you and I said, you know, that's a piece of junk, turn it off, or something like that, how would you feel? It's like, I feel bad. I want to, you know, I like the game. I said, that's the same thing that you need to think about when you talk to other people about something that you can't relate to. I said that because that's all it is. It's really just you not relating it to you, because it's not something that you're interested in. You always need to have respect for something that people are interested in that you may not be, and have the respect that if they're putting their time into it, it's important to them. So and then I tell her, I love you, right? So I have to respect and love the things that you love, because I love you. So and as an extension of you, I have to respect that. So it's the same thing that you need to do for other people. I said, because there's gonna be a time when you get older, and it can make or break certain things for you in your life. You know, you have to she's like, okay, you know how little kids are, and you talk too much and stuff like that. But you know, I'm trying to, you try to mold them from the experiences that you had, because it was the same thing. You know, why don't you get your ass a job, a real job, and get you somebody to stop playing these games? So I would say, because I always think back, and I was in my earlier years, I was like really like Street Fighter was my first game. I used to play it out in the arcades out here. I don't know if you ever came out here and played Street Fighter out here in the arcades. Mm-hmm. And I remember, because I tell a lot of stories from people that are OGs. I can say the only real OGs from my time would be probably out here. What's his name? Forget his name. He commentates now. Yipes. Yeah. He out of OGs like him probably and I don't, you probably don't know, but like Triforce, like those dudes that are like about my age, people used to get beat up in arcades just because they used to get so crazy. You would get into fights if you put your quarter up, because that's how I used to go. You used to put your quarter, I got next, and then people used to like put their quarters up online, and you would get into fights because people, that's my quarter. How am I supposed to know that's your quarter, dude? And then people used to come outside and it used to fight. It used to be crazy back out there. So I was like, a lot of people know how that used to be, and how the game scene changed a whole lot, because people would just fight because you grabbed them. Like it used to be back in the day, if you grab somebody, you will scrub and let's fight. That's how bad it was back. I'm telling you, FGC. That's why when you see how crazy. Now, like everybody gets really, really scared in the community when they get bad press, because they know how it used to be. It used to be way worse than just maybe altercation here, punch it. I remember. It used to be real bad. So that's why I'm just it used to be anyway. It used to be crazy, but I think I jumped off on a tangent there.
I know what you mean. But we back to Rumble Fighting. It was technically my first online game that I actually took seriously for fighting games. If we want to be really OG, when I was in high school, my first fighting game was Marvel vs. Capcom 1. Oh my god, that was a good game in arcades too. I was an MVC player at the time, and people will be actually. I eventually got good at the game. People will be lining it up behind me to fight me. And I was playing what, Ryu and Wolverine, like. Oh yeah, I would just beat people, and that shit was crazy, and people get so mad at me. And, they would try to like. They got so mad that they would try. The person that's fighting me, he would press the start button on my side, and when you press the start button on my side,
it brings up the character, doesn't it?
No, it makes the character taunt.
Oh,
yeah. So I'm like, what the hell, man? We're just playing the game. He's like,
I ain't do that shit out here because you do that, you know what was happening.
So I stopped playing MVC1 there after high school, and then we eventually migrated over to Rumble Fighter, and then League of Legends, and then funny enough, Scooter used to play MVC1 as well. So I was like, "There's no way you can beat me. I'll body your ass." Right. So at the time, we was playing GGPO. That's when GGPO came when we were during our high school years. It's basically an online client where you can download ROMs and play old ass fighting games. So the games we would play would be what we play. I think we played Third Strike. Third Strike was my main game afterwards. But then MVC1 I would body him free every time. And then eventually he started practicing, and then we were running sets back and forth. Now he's like, "Ha, bitch, you can't beat me anymore." I'm like, "All right, whatever." So the third strike, he actually never stood a chance, but he's gonna tell you otherwise if you ever ask him. Yeah, he's always gonna make shit up. But it's whatever. Yeah, and then from Third Strike to Street Fighter 4. I was always playing Ken and Third Strike. I played all the Shotos. I played Sean, I played Ryu, Akuma, Ken. Sean was like my most favorite Shoto, so I was like, you know what, I want to play Sean.
Okay.
And then Street Fighter 4 didn't have Sean, so I was playing Ryu and Ken.
Yeah, okay.
I actually didn't like them, so I played Guy in 4. And I didn't really take it seriously. I played 4 for like a month or two. It was just me and Scooter and some other online people. And then, fast forward. Even till then, when I was playing 4, I was still playing League of Legends. And at this time, I really lost purpose in what I want to get into because I'm born a gamer. I'm a full-fledged gamer. I want to compete. I want to compete in something. At this time, I kind of lost my sense of direction. Did I still want to keep playing League, or do I want to get a shot at at a fighting game? So. When I heard Street Fighter 5 was going to come out, he's like, "Oh, let's play that game." So
wait, Scooter said this. He said, "Let's play this game."
No. When I
said that to yourself.
Yeah, I said that to myself when I saw Street Fighter. When I saw that Street Fighter 5 was going to come out, let me play this game, right? So, when the game first came out, I was playing Ryu. So the history behind that is that Ryu was always one of my favorite, literally my go-to character in most fighting games.
Wow, that's interesting. You would think when you look at your stream now, you would think that you will always love Ken the way you put that.
Yeah, well, that's the play style that Ken has, and I can understand that play style. Okay. So with Ryu, I try to be. I don't know. With Ryu, I try to incorporate that same play style with what Ken has, and it worked. It worked. So I kept trying to do it, and then eventually I hit a wall when I was playing Ryu back in the days. I figured maybe I should play Ken, and I guess I've always been a Ken player. Right? So, but yeah.
Let me stop you right there because I want kind of people to hear this that are fighting game people, because it's a good example on, I guess maybe not only Street Fighter 5 and the way maybe you should also think about the way that your play style is. Maybe finding a character that fits your play style, because I feel, and I was thinking about this not too long ago, that I think Street Fighter 5 more so than comparing it to, like, let's say Street Fighter 4 is more of a flowchart-y game in the sense that you can't really step outside the realm of the character too much. So an example would be to say in Street Fighter 4 you could play Ken neutral heavy to an extent because you are allowed to do that with the game, but with this game he's very limited in that extent in playing a good a good neutral compared to people that are supposed to excel in the neutral game. Like you could see the the discrepancy in that.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Do you? So you agree? I mean, do you agree with that?
Oh, I definitely agree, 100%.
So that's why you made the switch, because you saw the wall with Ryu that you couldn't go as, let's say, rush down as you would have liked to.
Yeah, Ryu doesn't provide that same rush down.
Right.
So that's why I was like, okay, well, this makes it easier, so let me just try out Ken. Right? So, but the main reason why I switched over to Ken was because I got bodied by a Ken player when I was playing Ryu. I was like, that shit was free as fuck. Let me play Ken. Yeah, right? So I was really inspired. So yeah, I that's how I started playing Ken. But yeah, I played Ryu for a bit, and I wanted to. I was really competitive at it. Like I wanted to get somewhere with it. So usually Scooter is usually tags along on the ride, and gets in the same sense. But at this point in the timeline, Scooter was already not interested in competing anymore.
But is it like season 1, season 2-ish?
Yeah, season 1, like when it first came out fresh. This was at the point when Scooter was like kind of rock bottom on interested in competing into games and more of just playing games on a casual side. Because he was a competitive Halo player, but yeah, he was actually so good that he could have been in it. Went to MLG.
Oh wow!
But he was gatekept by his grandparents, because his grandparents were like, "You're too young. We don't want you to be playing games. We don't want to send you off there." Blah blah. Right? So it's unfortunate, and I understand why he would be so. He would be kind of like scarred to pursue that same path again. Right? But I hope he can find that same spark to get competitive. But if he doesn't, then it's whatever. But yeah, it's just he started tagging along. We were playing here and there. Eventually, he couldn't beat me anymore. And then
did you put more time into it? I guess.
I was putting mad time into the game, right? So, one day, one day when I was playing Street Fighter V and when I was around platinum level with Ryu, I wanted to venture out to my local area and see if there's any other Street Fighter V players, right? Because I was using keyboard at the time, so I was advertising myself as a keyboard player. And, at this time I had like a wake up call, because I literally had no friends. I had friends, but like I don't talk to them anymore. It's just acquaintances.
What was it? Do you feel like it was because you put so much into Street Fighter that you kind of like put yourself in that bubble?
No, I just had no social media presence.
Oh, you mean? Oh, okay. I know. Okay, now I get it. Right.
Yeah, I just had no connections. I had no social media presence. I didn't have that many friends to talk to. So I was like, what the fuck do I do? How do I get in touch with people? Right. So, funny enough, I typed in Vancouver local meetups, and the first thing that popped up was meetup.com. And I was like, what the fuck? So there's a group of people that want to meet up and shit. I was like, oh shit. So I typed in fighting games, right? And the first thing that popped up was a bar, and I was like, oh, a bar has fighting games. And it was basically a gaming bar. So it's called EXP bar or something like that. And I was like, okay, cool. Let's check. I'm gonna go check it out and see if there's anyone that plays Street Fighter, and I wanna showcase my skills, right? I brought my keyboard with me, and the first time I went there, the owner was there. He plays Ken, and yeah, and at this time I was still
for you, man. I don't know what it is.
At this time, I was still playing Ryu, so I'm at the bar, right? I got my backpack behind me, and my keyboard's in my backpack. I got my adapter with me too.
Oh, okay, cool. That's what I was gonna say. I didn't even put that in it.
Yeah, so I look for the setup, and then I ask around, is there any Street Fighter going on? He's like, is there a meetup? And then the bartender's like, yeah, just go down there and talk to the guy in the white hat. I'm like, hey, so are you the guy that hosts the Street Fighter stuff? He's like, yeah, I do. He's like, are you? But I'm not gonna play because I don't think you can beat me.
It's like, what?
I'm like what? I'm not. I'm like, okay, let's play then. Let's do first 3. Right. He's like, okay. He's like, where's your controller? He's like, I don't need one. I'll just use a keyboard to beat your ass. And he's like, excuse me, you use a keyboard? You definitely gonna lose. I'm like, okay. So I plug so I plug in my keyboard, right? And we did. And he's like, we did first to 3. And then he tells me, if you win this, food and drinks are on me. And I'm like, okay, all right.
Damn. Wow.
I'm like, damn, all right. So anyway, I picked my signature color, Ryu, red color, and he picks Ken, and then we play first to 3. I beat him 3-0 in 3 minutes.
Damn, dude.
In 3 minutes. Each game was 1 minute, and he just looks at me. He's like, oh wow, you know how to play this game. You trying to hustle? He's like, you trying to hustle people or some shit? He's like, no, man,
right.
I'm just here to play. This is your fault. You're talking shit.
Right.
He's like, all right, I guess food and drinks are on me. And then suddenly a whole crowd. There's a couch behind me, and then there's like 6 people sitting on the couch. They all got up and lined up to start fighting me.
Okay. That reminds you of the good old days, huh?
Yeah. And it's like, yo, let me get next. Yo, next. Yo, can I get next? And then I just kept beating people left and right. There was this one particular player I was fighting. He was playing Bison, and he almost beat me. He was actually the closest to beat me, but I beat everyone in that entire bar. So obviously this kind of sparked confidence in me. And then the Bison player that talked to me, he's like, you're actually really good and you should join the local community. He's like, oh, you guys have another local community? He's like, yeah, it's called Vancouver Street Battle. He's like, this is the only it's the only community that hosts multiple games, right? So he's like, okay, I'll go. Like, who's the best in Vancouver? He's like, because my mindset is I always want to be the best, there is. I want to be rank 1, the best. If I'm not rank 1, I'm fucking trash.
Right.
If I'm not rank 1, I gotta look at myself in the mirror and say, you're fucking trash. You're actually trash. Right. And so and he told me, he's like, oh, the best in Vancouver right now is Air Kenny.
Oh, I remember.
Air Ryu from Street Fighter 4, right? Yeah. So I'm like, oh, okay. I think I've heard of him before, right? And then I was like, okay, so we set up an appointment to go to the venue next week, right? So I fast forward, we go there next week, and then I was gonna money match him first to 5 for $100.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
And the first time you see me, you're gonna be like, I'm money matching this dude.
Yeah. It was like, I was like, you know what? I think I'm so nice. I got ahead of myself. I think I was so nice that I was like, you know what? I'm gonna money match him.
Right.
If I beat him, that means I'm godlike, right? So. I got nervous because there's everyone from there's like 30 people in the venue. Everyone was watching. I was like, what the fuck? There's mad people here. And then, anyways, so we was playing on the PS4 setup, right? And then it was a head-to-head setup. And I was playing him, and then I was up 3-0, and then he just came back, and I think he was sandbagging me or some shit. Like he beat me free 3-5 afterwards.
Damn.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I guess I lost my $100.
Yeah.
and then I can tell everyone else was picking on me because after I went to play casuals, the people will walk to me and say like, hey, you want a money match? You want a money match?
Shit. Like, I just lost all my coin. Man, get out of here with that.
And I was like, yeah, sure, let's money match. And then I lost like $20 here and there, and then it's funny because till this day, I still remember the story, like how they told me that when we set up that money match, Air knew I was free because I was just an online warrior. And then it's funny because he admitted to this. He's like, he told everyone in the venue, he's like, yo, go money match him, it's free, take his money. And I'm like, oh damn, all right, it's like that. And then fast forward now, I'm actually the best in my city.
Right, because I remember you beat Air.
Yeah.
I think it was in a bar or something like that, right?
Something like that, yeah. But I'm consistently the best in my city, so there's no argument about that. But
that's definitely a lot. I want to pick on this. So all right, so let's pick some of this out, right? So first, again, this is Cero. We talking about his history on Street Fighter. He was actually a Ryu player, y'all. For those of y'all that don't know, imagine that. You look at this dude. You look at him now. If you would just catch his stream now, you think he'd be playing. He was loving Ken for the whole duration, and he's a bandwagon jump on Ken. he loved Ryu first, man. Ryu was his first true love, man. So, okay, so let's go back to the money match thing, because me personally, I was bringing this up. I believe with somebody out here when we went to one of the barcades or something like that. So we, because I was like, I personally don't really like the money match. And I think it's just more because of my history with Street Fighter. Remember what I was telling you, like how I grew up with history. Like, you try to do as least as possible to get into a fight, and I feel like putting money on the line is like the biggest thing. So for you were easy to throw the money. So how do you feel about money match now? Like from your experiences with it.
Money matching, if anyone wants a money match, I'm down to money match. It just funny enough, if you money match someone, it helps you provoke that same tournament experience, and with that experience, you can use that experience to understand what you're feeling when you're fighting someone in a money match. Because you're probably like when you're fighting someone in a money match, the things you'll feel is probably nervousness or your heart racing, so you get anxiety. Your heart is beating too fast. You get adrenaline rush. You know, all these feelings impact you in tournament. So if you can navigate, palms are sweaty, knees, arms are sweaty. So you know how it is, right? So if you can manipulate these feelings and use and understand when you feel them and how to control them, or let them know how to let them take its toll, and you know. It'll help you do better in tournament.
That's good. That's a good thing to really put out there. Yeah, like I said, from my experience, that's why I was kind of against it, but I could definitely see it from you. And I gotta kind of get out of that mindset of the whole, you know, what the FGC used to be and what it is now. Like I said, it has come a long way, and I think it's just some of the stigmas that I have with the way it used to be. And that's why I don't really like the money match too much. I mean, I'm not a betting man usually, so I think that's also another reason why. I wouldn't do it. Like that's not my thing. But that's a good example of taking a positive out of something that might be considered a negative. Like betting may be considered a negative, but what you take out of it is the experience from it. Like we always say, experience is what.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Playing casuals is also another good thing. But if you play too long in a set with somebody in the casuals, that's when it gets a little bit ridiculous, because at that point you're not playing the game, you're playing the player, which is fine. But then you're gonna be but then you're gonna get too used to that, and you will your subconsciousness will habitually adapt slower when you're playing in tournament, because you've already warmed up yourself to expect subconsciously longer interactions with your opponent. When you're trying to mix up your opponent, when you're trying to do something with your opponent, you know.
So what would be an example of, you would say, like so let's say because I mean let's take two things from that, right? Tournament play, we know it's maybe a 2 out of 3 set. So what is the mentality that you think you feel like you should go into that versus when you're going into a longer set? Obviously you need to have, for a longer set, more stamina.
In longer sets, it's also about stamina, but it's also changing your strategy when you need to. Right. You have to know when to shift gears. You have to know when to change your play style. But the most important part is never let your opponent figure your strategy out. The moment when your opponent figures your strategy out, that's when you have to change it. If you don't change it, you're gonna get behind in the set and you're gonna lose. That's the thing with playing in a long set, though. If you get too used to that, then you get too used to planting seeds here and there and planting traps here and there in your strategy, that you might have a subconscious habit of doing that in tournament 2 out of 3.
Right.
And that can happen, and because if you do that, all I'm trying to say is if you play in a longer set, it's harder for you to adapt faster when you're playing a shorter set.
Okay, so in the shorter set now, let's go into that. What are the qualities you feel like you need to have? What are maybe the mindset that you think you feel like you should go in the shorter set?
In the shorter set, the strategy should be to obviously the strategy is to find out what your opponent wants to do, always, right? But the one thing I really notice is that with a lot of top players is that they show you their strategy first, and then they give you this element of surprise at the end that you'll never expect, right? It's either like a shimmy or an overhead or whatever. Those are the things that they always go for because they know you're not expecting it, and that comes from experience, right? So in a shorter set, you don't want to show all your tricks and the stuff that that will work. You want to show them later. Right, try and focus on the basics of the game, the generalistics of the game first, and see how far that carries you out of the game. And hopefully, it carries you out to the first game, and then you can close it out with an element of surprise.
Okay, because so like I want to I'll bring an example. So let's say I'm watching your stream, and I would say, let's say majority of the time, if you're fighting somebody, I see to me personally, it looks as if you're trying to troll them first, because you want to exact some kind of reaction from them to see how they react to what you're doing to them. And then let's say they so a perfect example would be if you're fighting a Geef player. I notice you'll do like the Tatsu to see if they know how to punish because it's -4, so they should be doing a command grab. So, but if they don't do that, oh shit, they don't notice, so you'll keep abusing it until you see them.
Yeah, you just keep.
So, like, is that usually like the general strategy for you? You'll troll somebody or try to see what they know.
You just see what you can get away with, and you just go from there.
Okay.
Well,
that's cool.
Pretty much it. Yeah, that's how it is with fighting. Is like you just see what you can get away with. And, you know, go from there, right? Because fighting games are the same thing as how you would take it as when you're fighting someone in person or you know, in boxing match or UFC or whatever. You know, both of you don't know what you're. Both of you are just learning. You don't even know who your opponent is. You don't know who you don't even know them. You don't know their background. You don't know who they are, and like you know,
you don't know what they know, right? So
exactly. So it all comes from interaction, because fighting is another form of language. So you know, you can. Just based on the interactions, like, you know, when punching him and, you know, rushing him down, like you can feel what they feel, like, you know, what they want to do. Right. If you can grasp that language and transfer it into fighting games, that's how you can really start leveling up your game.
Right. It's funny that you say that. What's going on? The Choten, he said I knew it. I guess he knew that's how you like to troll people. Oh man, but what I was it's funny that you say that, because I don't know, you probably don't know, I'm into martial arts. I've been doing it since I was 9, and I usually I try to make the comparison when I'm talking about fighting games. I say, you know, it's like spacing. You know, you throw a jab, and the jab is really your marker. It's to see where they are as a comparison to you and what you can hit them with. So if you know that they're right outside the jab range, you know either they can't hit you unless they step in, or you can hit them with maybe the 2, which is the cross. Or something, you know, there's a lot of different. It's a lot of similarities to fighting games as compared to like you said.
And some people can't understand it. They're just there to play the game.
Right. Yeah, that's another thing. They don't make the comparison, or they don't try to make it relatable. I think that's the biggest divide with people that can't get to that certain levels of fighting games, is that they can't make the connection to what's going on. So let me ask you another question, because I've been thinking about this for a while. So let me put it from my perspective. So I've stopped playing Street Fighter 5 online, and mostly the reason is because I noticed that in myself I was complaining a lot about the network connection, because it really gets me upset, because it's never been something like, to me, it's never been to something to this extent, right? So
crazy.
so for me, but I got to a point where I noticed something. I was like, look, I have to do one or two things. Either I shut the fuck up and I play it the way the game is going to be played, and stop making excuses and adapt to the lag and know what's going to happen, or don't play it. So I took the latter and not to play it, because I was getting so frustrated. But because I know, I mean, you experience it all the time, and every time I watch it, like, I'm looking at it as I'm watching your stream, and I'm just like, yo, I can't believe he can play through this. What was it like? How did you get to that point where it's just like, it seems like just another day for you? Like, you could play 24 hours and play 24 hours Street Fighter and get more than about 16 hours of it is lag, and you just do it the same face. It's just all good. I don't know how you do that.
It's not all good. You see me raging this. That should get me wrecked. So I fucking fight Brazil people. I shouldn't be fighting people from Brazil. That shit's crazy. Like,
but I mean, but you could. So for, I mean, but I know it does affect you at some point, but you get through it. Like, you're not constantly complaining the whole time. Like, you just, you know, you'll say, oh, like, you know, but whatever, you just keep doing it. You just keep playing hard. And I don't know, me, it would break me. Like, it breaks me. Like, I'm just like, I guess because, you know what I mean? I don't know.
I know what you mean. And it's a very easy answer. It all comes back to experience. You know, it's all, and it's the way of how you learn and how you handle things in life. It's, for me, the way I learn, again, is I learn by literally failing. I learn by failing and adapting afterwards. You know, I have to handle the hardship. I have to handle the experience of failing in order to adapt and be successful. That's how I learn. I learn through applied learning. I learn by attacking everything first. I don't care. I just dive in. I learn it. If I fuck up, I fuck up. I remember next time. You know, that's how I learn. And the other thing I learned is, you know, I learned by repeatedly grinding, repetition. You know, that's how I did in League. I would stay up 24 hours, even 40 hours a day, just to boost people or play League, just because I was trying to achieve a certain rank.
Right.
You know, and you know, trust me, League of Legends is more intoxicating, and it's more toxic than me playing Street Fighter right now. I have to depend on 4 other people. Yeah, it's just me playing that game is just way more toxic than Street Fighter.
It is.
You think I'm toxic in Street Fighter 5? I'm fucking more toxic in League of Legends. Straight the fuck up. So there's that. So even and just me complaining and raging on Street Fighter 5, that's just me from past experience from League of Legends. That's way worse. But you know, I'm used to it. You know, I'm used to all this bullshit. I'm used to all this whatever. You know, you just gotta go. You gotta go through it. You gotta it's whatever, right? So yeah, it's just repetition of grinding, and just I know for a fact I'm gonna complain, but you know what? I'm gonna keep playing the game, because what else do I gotta do? What else can I do, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, like I said, dude, there was you know, once I made that realization, you know, unfortunately, I said, you know, I'm gonna take a little break from it, because at the same time too, you know, I'm not you know, as strong of a player as you. So when I play the game, there's a lot more going through my head, in the sense, because I know what I want to learn. And I feel like when that variable comes through with that lag, I feel like it halts my learning process on what I'm trying to learn. And I think that was what kind of pushed me back and got me to the point where I was just like, nah.
Yeah, but like I said, everyone learns differently. We have to understand, you know, what is the best way to learn. Right. What's our best learning style, and you know, how, you know, just use, like, are you a apply learner? You know, are you a repetition learner? You know, there's just try and incorporate that into your games, and not just fighting games, but just games in general, right? That's how you learn. You know. Yeah, I think the way I learned was, you know, I just my other main technique of learning is, you know, I watch how people incorporate. I watch how other people interact, and I try and copy that, and, you know, recycle that into my own uniqueness. That's another way of how I learn.
Yeah.
So me repeatedly watching Momochi, other Ken players online, you know, those are resources that can help you hone your talent, or hone your whatever you want to do.
Right, your skill. Yeah. It's true that it's good that you say that, because that's one of my modes of learning, and I noticed also, as from getting, like, again, martial arts, a group setting is my best. Like, I'm sure you see martial arts classes, you know, they got a bunch of people or whatever, you know, a bunch of people sparring, they'll rotate and stuff like that. So I noticed that I used to thrive in that, because we would all come together, and also we had a group, so we would kind of, oh, you know, this is what you was doing, you know, this is what you were doing, I noticed this, oh yeah, I noticed this about you, oh yeah, we could. And I noticed that, I guess maybe more, not only did I thrive with that, I'm used to that kind of setting. And I noticed maybe I didn't get to that level in Street Fighter because I didn't have that. Access to that. So like you said, everybody gets better in their own ways, and they have to realize what that is. I guess since you play League, you understand the group setting, but you also know how to put it in and do your own solo grind. So in fighting games, it's a lot of it is a solo grind.
Yeah.
So he was able to learn that way. So that's cool. That's interesting. But yeah, when I see you, and I'm like, how can this guy play 24 hours of swimming, dude? My man is a rubber band, and I'm just like, oh my god,
that's crazy,
dude. That's why when you see me in the chat, sometimes I always ask him, like, yo, how's the lag in here? Because I'm like, yo, for you to be playing this song, it gotta be great. But not same shit. I'm like, oh my god, it gets me. I'm upset for you. And I'm just watching.
You upset? You upset for me?
I'll be mad.
You upset for me? You don't think I'm upset? That shit's crazy.
Jesus, dude, I'll be so mad, dude.
Yeah. But that's how it is. You know, the player base is really low, because if I'm playing 24 hours, you know, people who's gonna play at 4 in the morning? You know,
right.
Brazil, Mexico, Russia, whatever. Fine, I'll fight them, right? You know. And the funny thing is, they be accepting the match. I don't get it. Why?
I don't know, man. They probably in the same boat. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. They're like, dude, I'm trying to get me something, dude.
That's true.
And I think I find it so that will lead me into this next. How do you feel? Like, how do you feel the state of fighting games are at this point? So,
in general, or
yeah, in general, like as a general, and then I guess then if you want, you could, you know, categorize it with the different games like Street Fighter.
No, I don't think I need to subcategorize it.
Okay.
I think just in general, fighting games are heading in a positive direction.
Okay.
Even though we all are aware that the FGC is poverty. Yeah, it's actually
comparatively to the other esports out there. Definitely.
The other esports, but you know, it's still considered esports, right? So, with the new games coming out, it does you know, spark a bit more hope and hype into the esports FGC community. You know, we got Soul Calibur 6 coming out. We got Lethal League Blazer coming out. We got Smash Ultimate coming out. So those games alone enough can definitely provide more growth in the esports FGC community. And Street Fighter 5 is getting another update, so you know, there's that to hope for.
Right. They said they're reducing the lag.
The lag reduction in season 4 is actually, you know, going to be a lot of changes. So there'll be apparently a new game or something like that. Yeah, and you know, I think it's heading in a good direction. How would I reference it? I would reference it as maybe we're still in a adoption phase. We're still at that part where when hard drives are like $1,000 or whatever, right? So
for 100 gigs or something.
But because we're in a new generation where, you know, companies are expanding and adapting always so fast. It you know, eventually casinos will eventually jump into the esports scene as well. So you know, casinos all over the world, so far in Canada here, some casinos here are actually supportive of esports communities. So you know, they do try to host their own tournaments.
So you mean, hold on, to understand? So do you mean like I forget what it's called, but it's like that, you know, that those online betting communities where they bet on like MMA, or they bet on football games or sports games. You talking about things like that? Like that's where you think is heading?
No. Like actual casinos investing into the esports. Community.
Just there. Okay, just there. Okay.
Yeah, they have their maybe they might have their own. They might even have their own organization, but they're more of investing into other established esports industries, and that's for casinos. So you know, that's already a huge step for esports in general. Esports in general overall, I think that's going to expand as the years pass by, because I call this like last year, like within the next year or even the years coming or so. It's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I told so many people about this. You know, you should look into it more and invest into companies with that are going to get into esports. You know, they you know, usually people don't believe me. They think I'm crazy. And, you know, it's funny enough, you know, esports is blowing up. You fucking hear esports all over the place. You hear esports at your work. You hear esports at a restaurant or even at work or wherever you are. You hear it. You'll hear it. I promise you. You'll hear it at least once a day, if not within a week. You'll hear it. Right. If you are part of the movement, if you're just, you know, your normal daily average life worker, 9 to 5, you obviously they're not gonna know. Obviously they don't know about it, but they've heard of it. Right. Yeah. Right. So yeah, it's moving in a good direction. Hopefully it keeps going up. But
what would you? Okay.
No, go on.
I was gonna say what. So specifically now for Street Fighter, what do you feel like if you could put your own critique, if Capcom came to you and said, "Yo, Cero, what would you like? How would you want us to move this game, and or what would you like us to do for this game to get it to where it would be the best game it could be?" What would you tell them?
Well, the balance changes are unreasonable in this game, and coming from a League of Legends standpoint, I am a big fan of, you know, really understanding how balance changes work in League of Legends. Some of the balance changes in League of Legends are just ridiculous and they don't make any sense. But at least every time when they release a balance change, the developers leave a note saying why they did this. Capcom doesn't do that. They just release the balance changes and then that's it. They don't to your own devices. they don't explain anything. They don't. You know what's crazy? And there's hidden balance changes too. You find these weird balance changes that they don't even mention in the patch notes. And the other stupid thing is they mention the balance changes, but it actually doesn't relate to the game. It's still like let's just say, for example, they said that, oh, we fixed Ibuki and Zeku's wake up timing. They still the same thing. They still the same thing. You said what? You said you fixed that. They still the same thing. Hello, what? Right? Like, if you're gonna mention patch note changes, at least say that, oh, it's working now.
Right.
Don't just say.
At least make sure it's working,
or at least tell us what did you guys change in the patch notes. Don't just leave us like hanging. Like, come on, like, you know, we support your game. You know, we should be given that opportunity to know what you guys are doing.
And I want to touch on that point, because I think that's a very good point that you said. So I think the difference is because a lot of people want to say, would argue the fact that, okay, well, fighting games never been a thing where, you know, they used to put out the game and you just used to have to take it, right? Like, that's it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But I think what the big change is that, okay, but because they're changing the dynamic of what they want the game to be. They want it to be an esports game, right? They really put a lot into promoting the online community and how it can, you know, grow into going into tournaments and things of that nature. So it's like kind of saying you opening the floodgates to have more people invest in your game. So now, if we're investing in your game, we have a right to get what we want and say what we want change. Like, we should have that voice and we should be heard. And I think that's a very like a disconnect, I think, with
Capcom.
Well, yeah, with Capcom, because I think it's like they're in that stage where the older school people, I guess, that maybe have worked on the game, or older school mindset of Capcom was just like, yo, we put out games and you gotta eat it. But it's like, you can't do that anymore.
It's a different generation. You have to adapt to change.
Right.
It's just the way it works. Like, if you don't adapt to change, you're gonna get left behind.
Right,
you know?
Exactly.
And surprisingly, the only people that are playing the game is just top players that are playing Street Fighter 4. That's it.
Right.
And then, you know, if those players keep playing those games, obviously they're going to attract new players, because new players are going to be like, oh, I'm so inspired. I'm watching Momochi. I'm watching Daigo.
But they might not keep them.
I want to just keep those players. Yeah, I just want to be like Daigo or Momochi. So you know, you start playing the game and start, and, you know, inspiration sparks jealousy. Right. So
that's a good quote. And put that CeroBlast. Unless you got that from somebody else, or you.
No, I got that from someone else.
Oh,
yeah. It was a good quote. Though. It was a good quote.
It was a good one.
Yeah, but like I said, it's like, if Capcom can step up their game and like act like it as a actual esports, like adapt to the esports change, they will be in a better direction, right? So I mean, Ono stepped off, and the new guy is now in charge. So, you know, hopefully we'll see.
So who stepped off?
Ono, the head director, he stepped off. Yeah, he tweeted out. He's still part of Capcom, but he stepped off the
development of the
development. Yeah, the direction of the game.
Right. It's interesting. Maybe that was a good. I mean, like, he's been doing it for so long. Maybe they need a new perspective. Maybe they knew somebody with a.
Maybe they need someone new. Yeah. But I'm telling you, like, you know, they really need to step up, because, you know, with these other games coming, like let's just take let's just take all these new Royal games coming out, like COD, like the new COD game that come out. It's crazy. Like, every game coming out now is gonna have some sort of battle royal aspect, because that's the trend.
It's true.
And eventually, League of Legends is gonna make their own battle royal game. It's only a matter of time. I can already see it coming, because there's already one right now. So, you know, if you're gonna make a game, or you're gonna update your game, it needs to follow the trend. If it doesn't follow.
Oh yeah, sorry. I just want to know, how do you feel? Yeah, that they can follow that trend with a fighting game. How do you think that?
How they can follow a trend?
Yeah, because I mean,
just follow. Oh, I mean, like, just follow the same direction as they're heading. Like, you know, most of the microtransactions come from costumes. I understand that. You know, everyone has Chun-Li costumes, Minot costumes, whatever. You know, all your waifus and shit, and the way with games, the esports games are right now, is that there's so much money on the line. There's so much tournaments going on weekly basis. Capcom has that too, but they need to open up to having more esports industries jump in on Capcom. They need to have a way to promote themselves, to tell them that, hey, you know, we have a game here that is, you know, potentially esports worthy and it can get really big. We just need more people to dump in the money in the game. Right. So I don't know how they would promote it, but they would have to think of something.
So it's funny. Okay, so because I remember having a conversation and I asked a few people, more, I asked a bunch of people. I even remember messaging on Twitter. What's the guy from Canada Cup? What's the dude's name that one? Lapchi. I remember asking him a question. I said, I think that what needs to be done is they need to start moving away from just console gaming and try to implement PC in there in some kind of way. Everybody would bash him. Yeah, that's the worst idea, and blah blah blah. And I was getting into, and I'm like, dude, relax. I was like, first of all, let's look at this from a broader perspective. What's the thing that we're not doing? We're not promoting, and we're not getting anything from the PC market. We're not getting people like like brands that are
the PC market is way huger.
Yeah, it's way huger. Yeah,
it's way huger. And but the issue is Sony is sponsoring,
right.
So they have to use their consoles. Yeah. It's part of their contract.
And I think that was probably not like maybe not their biggest mistake, but I think when they limited themselves to just that, kind of screwed them over a little bit. And maybe with the next iteration of the game, maybe they could, because I think, I don't know how you feel about it, but I think, a lot of people want to complain and say, well, for tournaments, it's going to be, crazy. But I said, dude, you have to try it and then work your way into.
They don't even have to do anything. They just have to partner with other PC companies like Gigabyte, Asus, whatever, any other technology company that's already established in esports. They just have to reach out to them, or or if those companies have already reached out to Capcom, look at the contract, look at their offer, and they probably want to promote some PC products or PC whatever to play Street Fighter 5. And that would be great for everyone, because then we won't complain about lag.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So I don't know, people are so resistant to it. So I was watching. Do you watch Avoiding the Puddle at all, Aris? Do you ever watch his stream?
I watch Aris.
So I remember he was having a conversation about this too, and I was thinking about it. He said, that that he feels like a lot of it is tournament organizers where they don't want to put in the money to use the PCs because of how expensive it is and everything, and it's understandable. But at some point in time, somebody has to take the risk. Yeah. Like, why would a PC company give money to you if you're not playing on a PC so that you can show off the brand? Right. It's just like you can't have it. You can't have it both ways. You can't want investors but not take the risk to get the investors. Yeah. Right. I mean, your investment. You do investment. Am I like out of the norm? Somebody has to take the chance, or somebody has to.
Well, when you're investing in general, you have to weigh out the risk versus the rewards. Right. If the reward is higher and the risk is lower, it's very optimal to take that opportunity. Right. However, if that risk is very high but the reward is very high or low, this is up to you to decide if you want to take that opportunity or not. Right. And usually, most oftentimes, you don't want to, because it doesn't give enough reward, or there's just too much risk involved. Right. Right. So generally, anything that's high reward and low risk is very optimal.
Right. So because it's fun, so again, when I asked the question to Lapchi, he said I would have only PC games be on the main stage. A PC setup be on the main stage, and all the rest of the ones in the background be the consoles. But I said I think that's a good start, because it'll show the PC market, hey, look, we use PC, we can get it to work. This is everything else that comes with esports. This is a good game. I think it could go far. What can we work together? What do you think? Do you think that's a good start? Because I think, like I said, we have to get PC into the market if we want to get bigger. There's a whole untapped market out there that's not being tapped into, and the only way I feel like is you have to put it in the grander stage. Like when we all watch, what are we watching? We're watching tournaments, and when we all see it on PlayStation, they're like, okay, oh, that's cool, but what is it gonna do for me? Like, what is it gonna do for my brand?
I agree too. I think that's the thing that Capcom is missing is the PC market. Right. If they can tap into the PC market and grab partnerships from Asus, Gigabyte, whatever technology company, and if they can, and if they can represent their brand, just putting their brand on their Capcom's logo or whatever, if they can represent their brand and also use their brand, their products in tournament, you know, that would help Capcom so much. I'm sure they've gotten so much offers on that, and they just probably refused it.
Right. I think it's like I said. So why do you think? What do you think? The reason the community is so against it, like a lot of the community and a lot of tournament organizers don't want to even try it. I mean, I know you said the risk reward type of thing, but I mean, do you think that's
they're refusing or they don't want to try it because in tournaments, when they're organizing tournaments like ranking events or premier events, it's an actual abiding to the contract where they cannot play any console besides only PS4.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Okay. So you think after the fact, once that runs out, maybe in the next iteration of the game, you think more tournament organizers? Because the reason why I say that is because I think, because I remember in 4, I remember when it was getting into like the Ultra, I think that was the last iteration of the game. It was PC, like they didn't have that deal, and I didn't really see many people using the PC setups. I thought that was a big chance for them to use it.
I'm just saying from assumption that is the case, that they cannot play on a different console. They can only play on PS4 because of the contract base. Right. I'm sure someone would have already stepped up by now and made a PC format of the tournament for Street Fighter specifically, but no one has it. So there really isn't no risk. They have to abide to the tournament rules, which is to only play on PS4 console. Okay. Because that is part of the tournament rules. Right. Okay, so if Capcom can change that, and if they get partnered with, you know, other certain types of technology companies, they can change that contract to say you can play on PC as well.
Okay. And, so what would you say to the people that would say, because like I said, I've heard a lot of people complaining that they wouldn't want PC to be a part of tournament because of the problems that it would bring, like, you know, with setups and controller malfunctions and things of that nature. What do you think about that? About them saying that? Because I mean, I think it's going to happen regardless. It's not. It's going to happen regardless.
It happens with PS. It doesn't happen with PC. It happens with PS4 too, right? Yeah. So I mean, from my experience, the controllers don't usually. The controller is harder to set up on PC because if you're playing pad or if you have a Brooks converter or whatever, it's hard for the PC to navigate it and pick that up. So yeah, there's a lot of configuration involved, but you know, it's worth it in the end because neither parties can complain after losing, because at the end of the day, there's no lag reduction in the game.
Right. And I mean, I would think if anyone, if I was to be a betting man and I would put a new configuration, I would say that a PC would be able to find way more configurations that you will be able to find on a regular system, because of the the internet downloadables, drivers and stuff like that. Yeah. I think there's a way around that, in the sense where you could say, hey, look, like for instance, who's the guy that uses the PS1 controller? He uses a PS1 controller to play the game. I forget his name.
I don't remember.
He plays, I think, Mika.
I don't know.
Well, anyway, he plays a PS1 controller. So what I would do to try to alleviate the pressure on the PC is like, okay, look, if you're gonna register for this tournament, what controller are you gonna be using? So that we know the controller that you're using, what maybe drivers we need to download, whatever, and try to take precautions on that end. And it may be a little bit more setup, it may take a little bit more time, but I mean, you got to do what it is that you got to. I mean, what are you supposed to do? What else are you gonna do?
That's cool. Yeah, if you can let Smash GG know like what controller you're using,
right?
When you sign up the tournament, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, like you have to. Anyway, this is all to say that there's a lot of excuses. But what are the solutions that you're coming up with instead of just throwing out excuses? Like I said, I was hearing a lot of excuses, but okay, you guys want money, right? you guys want money. You got to go to the money. And how else to go to the money is to stop making the excuses and